Good day, folks, and welcome to Ed's Garage. So, real quick, if you are new to this series, basically what this is all about is my wife and I are planning on dragging this little trailer all the way across Canada in a basically coast-to-coast trip. We're then going to go down south into, most likely down New York, Virginia area, and take Route 60, well, meet up with Route 66 and take that all the way back across to the west in America, and then head back up to Canada. So a big loop through the continent. So if you're new to this series, don't forget to check out episode 1, all about the trailer. But in any case, what this particular episode is about is whether or not we'll be able to charge the EV with the solar panels that are on the trailer through an inverter. So to do so, to test it out, basically I've got an inverter coming from Amazon, should be here any minute, and I'm gonna hook it up to an inverter, hook it up to a 12-volt battery and see if it'll both cook with a cooktop and if I can charge with it an EV. So I don't have the Ioniq 6 yet. That'll be the vehicle that we're towing. We're towing with, but for now we're going to use this, the older 2017 Hyundai Ioniq, to see if we can at least charge it up a little bit using a 12-volt battery. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so, I'm very, very excited because today the inverter just got delivered from Amazon. So this is a 3,000 watt inverter, and I'm really, really excited to give this a shot. Now, I have a 12-volt battery on order. It's not arrived yet. I actually decided to go with a 200 amp hour instead of the 300 amp hour because I've actually got a 100 amp hour battery already in my truck. It's a lithium iron phosphate battery. So I'll hook those up in parallel, connect it to the inverter. So for today, I'm just going to use a lead acid battery because I got one. It's easy to access, but I just want to see if this is even going to work and how much power I can draw without having this thing trip. So to start, we're going to go ahead and open this up and see what it looks like. All right, 12 volt to 110 volt, pure sine wave. It feels like about 20 pounds or so. Product certificate of authenticity. It's got some, looks like, 40 amp fuses in it. Wow. Got a retractable USB cord. Basically, it's got USB mini, USB-C, and lightning. And then it's one of these retractable doohickeys. Same color as the inverter, which is kind of cool. Ground strap. Ground wire. And positive wire. Oh, nice. Got like a battery meter and, I guess, input voltage fault. Power on, power off, and this looks like it could be mounted pretty much anywhere, and it's got a little remote cable. Alright, this thing's a beast. Oh, look at that. Even comes with a wrench. Alright, so on this side we have our DCN connectors, of course, so our positive and negative. And on the other side, oh look, a little mini display here as well. So that's actually very similar to what's on this one, right on the inverter. And then just 210 volt power outlets. Hey kitty, you're not allowed on the counter. And it looks like a AC output wired connection here as well, which is handy. What you doing, Basil? Now oddly, the foot is actually bent. As I can see, that should be straight. So I don't want to put it down on the counter. I don't want to damage my counter. Here, put it on this for now. All right, so a little disappointing that it shipped with this bent foot on the end here. So that's okay. We'll straighten that out somehow. Like that. There we go, straight. So this is my cat Basil. He clearly wants to play with this box, so I'm gonna let him. Nice thick wires. I think these are about a 6 gauge, and there's 2 of them. I've doubled up on the thickness of this wire. It makes sense because I mean 3,000 watts, that's a lot of energy. You know what they say about curiosity and cats, right? Come on, off. You're not allowed on the counter. Off, off, off. Door. Alright, so I've got everything set up. Got my 3,000 watt inverter, my 1,000 maximum cold cranking amp battery. I got a little bit of water in an induction capable pan. As you can see, magnets stick to it. So now it's just a matter of testing it. Let's fire it up. Alright, so it does a little test run with the fan here. So the fan is currently on, and now it's off. Okay, we're showing battery level is about 75%. Shows there anyway. This one, a little bit different. It's a little bit more than 75%, probably around 80%. Alright, let's turn it on and see what happens. Come on. There we go. Yeah, these buttons are a little flaky. Alright, it's on. Fans on the induction cooktop turn on. So I'm turn up the temperature a little bit here. I really don't like this cooktop. Oh, we're drawing a lot of power now. So the fan in the inverter just came on. So at the very least, I can cook with one pan. Alright, let's shut that off. Alright, next test. Everything's kind of cooled down a bit. I got some water in this pan, some water in this pan. So let's fire them up. I'm going to crank everything to max and see if it stays running. Alright. Fan just came on the inverter. I wonder if that's got enough juice to get both of these boiling. That is a bit of an older battery, and it's not really designed to be doing what we're doing right now. Well, I guess it kind of is. Cool air coming out of there still. Alright, we got one. You go, cat. Got one pan boiling. The other one, oh yeah, it's getting hot. So this is now a total of 1,800 watts being drawn from the battery through the inverter, and the battery is currently reading at 10.4 volts, so it's definitely taxing that battery. Interesting though, here it says 10.7 volts, so clearly there's a bit of a disconnect between these two things. Interesting. Alright, but I've got boiling water on both of these pans now. Alright, so I have drained the battery a little bit in this vehicle down to 97%. It was already plugged in, so I basically had to unplug it, run it for a while to get it down a little bit. I'm not trying to do a whole lot here, just to see if I can get it to move 1% or 2%. Now, I actually don't expect this to work, and the reason for that is because in order for the charger to actually start charging, it needs to detect a ground. Now, this thing's not grounded at all, so I don't see how this is possibly going to work. But anyway, so the car is there. There's the charging indicator lights right there. And I've just been charging up the interstate battery a little bit here, just using this little portable charger. So I'll go ahead and disconnect that so there's no question as to where the power is coming from. So again, we got battery, cables, power inverter, charger's plugged in. Now this is just a 120 volt charger, and it's going to be putting out, or basically pulling 12 amps from this. Now 12 amps, basically that works out to about 1,400 watts. That is less than the cooktop. So the cooktop was actually using more energy. But yeah, let's see if it works. All right, and immediately there is a fault, as you can see. So yeah, it's got to be because it's not grounded. That's not surprising at all. So I'm going to try to unplug it, plug it back in, see what happens here. Actually, what I'll do is I'll unplug it from the car first. I'll shut this off. Let's try the other port. Turn it back on. And before plugging it into the car, I'll wait to see what the charger says. Yeah, still a fault. So somehow we need to basically ground this. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on that to see how that works and go from there. All right, so I've come up with a very temporary solution, and I've got to say, guys, do not try this at home because basically I'm going to be plugging something into a power outlet that is live, and I've run a wire to the ground port. I'll show you in a second here. But as you can see, I've got this very kind of sketchy looking wiring contraption here. Basically, I'm going to get my ground from this pin here, and that blue and brown wire there, they're going to be live. So they're not stripped, so I mean, they're somewhat safe-ish, but if I touch the ends of those, they will still shock me. Anyway, so here we go. All right, so now this ground wire here is connected to this wire, which is going all the way and connecting to the ground port right there. So we'll fire it up. Oh, first we'll disconnect the charger. All right, so we got battery, cables, inverter, and car charger. So let's turn this on. I'll wait for it to do its thing. All right, says the battery's at a good level. Let's see what this says. Ah, still a ground fault. Strange. All right, after a little bit of researching, I figured out that if we connect the neutral side to the ground, that should stop it from actually having this weird ground fault. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. I hope it does, and I think I'll still run a grounding strap when we're out and about. But let's give it a shot here. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but... All right, so far so good. Let's plug in the charger. All right. It's in. Oh my God, it's working! It's actually charging. That's awesome. So currently at 97%. 97%. Charging. That's awesome. There we go, charging current. So it's actually charging at the minimum level on AC right now. So let's ramp it up a little bit, shall we? Right up to maximum. All right, it just went to 50 minutes remaining instead of an hour and 55 minutes. That's awesome. So far, it doesn't look like there's any issues with the inverter. It hasn't, the fan's not on or anything like that. I'm not getting any weird beeping sounds. As you can see here, our input voltage is down to 10.6 volts, which is quite low. So it's putting a bit, decent amount of draw on the battery. Strangely, the fans haven't turned on the inverter yet. So while it is drawing a lot of energy, it doesn't seem to be enough to cause the fans to come on. Now that it is quite cool in here already, so maybe that's why. The car is still charging. It's now been several minutes. I don't think, yeah, we've got no display up right now. I think if we open the door and close it again, yep, still 97%. So yeah, I can see, I don't know if I can see that there. It says 45 minutes now. So it's been going for 5 minutes. It's still at 95%. So as you can see, the charging is going to be very slow using this method. But I've maxed out the amount of energy that the car can draw with that 120 volt level 1 charger. And oh, there we go. The battery now is getting a warning. I'm going to quickly hook up my ammeter and see what it says. All right, let's see here. So we want amps DC. Now this thing isn't exactly super accurate on DC, but that's okay. Let's see what it does here. So it looks like we're drawing about 140 amps. I guess that is actually pretty accurate because that's 1800 watts. So that's precisely what we should be getting. Cool. All right. So once the 12 volt battery gets down to a certain level, I guess it's 10.2 volts. As you can see, it just gives up and dies. So that's not it's not a problem. That was expected, and it has completely stopped charging. So it's basically protecting the battery now. So it looks like this is going to work, guys. Now this battery is, I mean, there's not a lot of capacity in this battery. So yeah, not surprising that we pretty quickly cooked through this battery. The capacity is nowhere near the 300 amp hours that I'll have in total in the trailer. But anyway, so I'm gonna basically end this video here. The next step is going to be installing that cooktop. I think that's probably the next project. So I just wanted to quickly test this out, see if it would work, and it looks like it's going to work. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the like button. And if you want to see future videos like this, don't forget to hit the bell icon. As I mentioned in my last video, I will be throwing some car reviews in between as well, but I'll try to do a fairly regular video in regard to this trip as well. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.